Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are live once again for the second time today for the second Australia Cup semi-final. We today watch Sydney FC defeat Melbourne City away from home. A huge result, a huge performance by Sydney FC, who were really, really impressive. They were very, very good today, not only defensively, but in attack as well, taking their chances. 2-1 win. Sydney FC are into the final of the Australia Cup, which is great for them. A team who have sort of been struggling the last couple of years, sort of not necessarily struggling, but a little bit mediocre in the last couple of years for Sydney FC. It's been a few years since they've made a final. They are into the Australia Cup final. Will it be Melbourne Knights or Brisbane Roar joining them? We are about to find out in the next couple of hours. So glad you guys can join me here for this one. If you want to watch the game, it's available on 10 Play. And it's kicking off in like 12 minutes, which is very exciting. I hope you guys have had a great weekend. Let me know that you're here. Drop a message in the chat. That's what we're doing here with Coastal Football, man. It's all about you guys, man. It's all about the discussion that we can have here, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, how are we feeling about this one? Feel free to give me some predictions as well for this one. Curious to see how you guys think this one will pan out. You gotta say that Brisbane Roar are favourites to get the result in this game. But Melbourne Knights, the one and only remaining NPL team in the Australia Cup, haven't faced an A-League team in their cup run so far. They've defeated Lions FC from Queensland. They defeated Heidelberg United, Victorian rivals last time around as well. They also defeated Campbelltown City from South Australia. So clubs from a few different states. Another Queensland team today in Brisbane Roar. But I tell you what, a lot of excitement around Brisbane, isn't there? Everyone, especially the Brisbane fans, who are very, very excited for this match, I'm sure. And this is a massive opportunity for Brisbane Roar to qualify for their first final in almost a decade. It's been a long, long time for the mighty Brisbane Roar. You have to go back to all the way to 2014 when they won the A-League Grand Final against Western Sydney Wanderers. 2014, back in the day when the likes of Thomas Broich and Bessa Brusha were running the show over there at Brisbane Roar. All right, what are we saying in the chat? Good to see Nicholas here. Sid FC is here. Zelly, Ollie, John's here. Ando. So good to see you guys here. Obviously, a bunch of you guys were here for our live stream just earlier today. The Sydney City Watchalong as well. Okay, what are we saying here? We've got some chats up the Roar, says Ollie and Zelly. This is interesting. John says Patrick Kaznorbu could be on thin ice with Troy after 7 games. Troy are 1 point above relegation zone of the League 2 table after already experiencing relegation from League 1. His overall record in France is 30 games, 2 wins, 11 draws, 17 losses. We could see Kaznorbu return to Melbourne City to replace Rado Vidicic. Ollie says that would be interesting. John says, or they may persist with Vidicic for a while, just give Kaznorbu the sack. I tell you what, that is really worrying. I didn't know that was, I'm not following Patrick Kaznorbu's journey too closely. That's really, really poor, isn't it? That's the kind of results that you'd expect a manager to be sacked for if they're performing in that way. I'd be surprised if he was to come back and just for them to just replace Ryder with Patrick again. I can't see that happening. It looks like that they have committed to Ryder Vidicic now. I think maybe after losing that grand final 6-1 last year, Melbourne City, or the last season, I should say, there was that was sort of an opportunity for them to make a move in the coaching department, potentially bring someone in, but they decided to stick with Ryder Vidicic, and we'll see if that pays off or not. They're looking a little bit lackluster so far, Melbourne City. 0-0 draw at home in the Asian Champions League midweek and getting knocked out in the semi-final of the Australia Cup. Which is a decent run, but overall they haven't necessarily impressed too much in the Australia Cup. So, very, very interesting that is, and thanks, John, for bringing that up. And I'm sure Melbourne City would love him back. I'm sure they would. I can't see it happening, though. We'll see, though. We'll keep an eye on that one for sure. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind someone like Patrick Kaznorbu at Central Coast Mariners. That team's still looking for a manager. Hopefully, Mariners appoint someone sooner than later. It's been ages, man. It's dragging on quite a bit, and I know a lot of Mariners fans are getting a little bit antsy about the situation, which is totally understandable, given that the A-League season is less than a month away now. Less than a month away. But our focus tonight is once again in Melbourne Knights at home today, hosting Brisbane Roar, hosting A-League opposition. What a massive evening! We're seeing shots here from the stands, from the stadium. Looks like the stadium is filling up very, very nicely. They've got a really nice grandstand there at the home of Melbourne Knights. So I'm sure we're set for a big turnout here tonight. All right. Not long till kickoff. Let's talk about some of the lineups. Brisbane Roar, well, the major thing for them, Brisbane Roar, is the loss of Henry Hall, who's out with suspension today. 3 consecutive yellow cards means he misses out on today's game, which is a big loss for Brisbane because we're talking about him before. He is one of Brisbane's best players and has been superb in this cup run so far, bagging goals. No Henry Hall today. So it means it's a starting debut for Florent Berenguer. A big moment for Berenguer back in Melbourne. He impacted the game off the bench against Wanderers, and you'd expect him to have an impact here tonight. Playing in that number 10 role, it's the first time that he's playing alongside Jay O'Shea, starting alongside Jay O'Shea, and really curious to see how those two guys sort of slot in together. We'd expect Berenguer to play sort of in that playmaker number 10 role. That's the expectation. Spencer says, who's ready for Raw to become the third Brisbane team to make a grand final this week? And come on, you Brisbane boys. So Spencer, excited for you, Spencer, man. And hey, look, very excited for Queenslanders, Brisbane folk. Obviously, in the other codes, we've seen in the AFL and NRL, the Brisbane teams getting through to the final. Could Brisbane Roar join them? Could they join them? Those are the Brisbane teams that make it through to the Australia Cup final. We're about to find out. We're about to find out. So, let's do it. Let's do it. My prediction for this one, we can talk about that now. I'm sticking with my Brisbane 3-2 prediction. I put in my prediction video this morning and sticking with 3-2 Brisbane. I think it's a game that Brisbane should be expected to win. They're an A-League team and do have a more experienced and a higher quality squad. Having said that, there's totally a chance for a cup set here tonight. Melbourne Knights, a massive opportunity for them at home against Brisbane Roar, who will be going through to take on Sydney FC in the Australia Cup final. Aussie's here as well. Good to see him back here as well, mate. Says, come on, Brisbane. The Brizzy fans feeling good. It's good to see. Good to see. As you can see here on the broadcast, Ivan Franjic, former Brisbane Roar player, and they're showing his stats on the broadcast now. 242 A-League games played, 3 A-League championships, all with Brisbane Roar, of course. He won the Australia Cup in 2016. That would have been with Melbourne City, I believe. And a number of caps for Australia as well for the Socceroos. What a name to have in their team, Ivan Franjic at Melbourne Knights. So, really nice pitches, dude. Again, you can watch the game on 10 Play if you want to catch the broadcast of this one. And picturesque setting at this one. Love it. Aussie says massive crowd, which is good to see. It does indeed look like a fantastic turnout for the Melbourne Knights. Plenty of fans in attendance, which is awesome to see. It's one of these classic sort of suburban grounds where you've got... There's a lovely grandstand that they've got on that far side, but you've got people sort of all around the fences, all around the sides, and looks like a great turnout, man. A few thousand there for sure, at least. A few thousand for sure. They got a decent turnout last time around. It was Melbourne Knights were at the stadium once again to host and defeat Heidelberg United. Good crowd for that game too. Excuse me. So, kickoff minutes away. I do spot some Brisbane Roar fans in the crowd. Brisbane Roar fans in attendance. Massive occasion for Brisbane. As we said earlier, looking to qualify for their first final in over a decade, almost a decade, I should say. And a team who have been starved of success for a little while now. Last few years have been rough for Brisbane Roar. They've had a really impressive cup run. Overcome NPL and A-League opposition to get to this position. Interestingly enough, they've defeated A-League opposition twice already in this cup run, defeating Newcastle Jets and Western Sydney Wanderers. Brisbane Roar also knocked out Sydney United. As the teams enter the field of play, red, white, and blue strip for Melbourne Knights, the all-black away strip for Brisbane Roar. Very clean-looking kits. Ivan Franjic, of course, wearing the captain's armband for the hosts. Good to see Sam here as well. Thanks for jumping in, Sam. Good to see you guys here. While you're here, feel free to punch the like button. Drop a like. Greatly appreciate it. We are here for the second semi-final in the Australia Cup. Good luck to both teams, says Sam. Should be a great game. Two teams who deserve their spot in the semi-finals. Having a look at the lineups now on the broadcast. Benjamin Collins, couple names that you'll remember here, former A-League players. Benjamin Collins, formerly of Western United. Kieran Bramwell, involved in the attack, former Perth Glory player. Of course, Ivan Franjic. Ivan Franjic, a player who won 3 championships with Brisbane, coming up against his former side. Brilliant career Franjic had. Was one of the top fullbacks in the A-League for a long time there. Brisbane Roar lineup looking pretty solid as well, as we talked about just a moment ago. No Henry Hoare today for Brisbane, which is a big loss. But tell you what a replacement they have in Florin Berenguer to jump in and take his place. It's Thomas Waddingham that starts a 4th consecutive Australia Cup game up top for Brisbane. Some rumours on the socials that Bernie Abini might be linked with a move to Brisbane Roar. Interesting to see whether that eventuates. I think it would be a decent signing for Brisbane. I think it would be. A little bit of experience, especially up top. Sam says, didn't know Franjic was still playing. Yeah, playing is... we do often see that from some of the older players who formerly in the A-League looks to get some game time in NPL football. Look at these fans, man, at the stadium. Again, if you want to watch this one, you can tune in on 10 Play. And on the broadcast there is Ben Khan, as they're showing him on the screen. A coach who is rumoured with, or at least the fans want him to be rumoured with, linked with a move to Central Coast Mariners. He was at the club previously, involved at the club, and a very talented young coach. A lot of Mariners fans, myself included, would love to see someone like Ben Khan given an opportunity at the Mariners. And Ross Aloisi, head coach of Brisbane. What a job Ross Aloisi has done, though, in the opening months of his tenure to really turn this Brisbane Roar team around. Turn them into a formidable side who is capable of defeating good opposition. We saw that in the quarterfinals against Wanderers. Brisbane really, really impressive in that 4-2 win against Western Sydney Wanderers. If they play that same way, they will win tonight. It's as simple as that. Aussie says, I feel like Ben Khan was at the Mariners, but for a bit doing something different. For a bit doing something. Yes, sorry, I misread that for a second there. Yes, he was at the Mariners previously, many years ago now. Indeed. Ronan here, how's it going, man? Ronan says, City game was appalling. We were defensive for 70 minutes and until we decided to play. Very disappointing for Melbourne City, wasn't it? Really, really poor. They crashed out of the Australia Cup. And it was really worrying for Melbourne City. They drew 0-0 in their opening Asian Champions League game as well. Curious to see how Melbourne City go this campaign. But all the focus is here, and we are underway in Melbourne. Knights v Roar. Of course, a slight delay here on the YouTube stream, as we know. So just please be aware of that. We are underway. Look at this, man. Look at the sunset. And I tell you what, the camera's having a little bit of difficulty with that. The glare of the sunset is proving a little bit tricky for that camera. I don't know whether the the Channel 10 broadcasters accounted for that sunshine. That is harsh. Wow, I've never seen sun hitting the camera that hard before. It shouldn't be up too much longer. You can see it's setting behind that far grandstand. Wow. Very healthy turnout for the Melbourne Knights. Huge occasion, as it always is, for these NPL teams to be facing A-League opposition, especially when it's in a semi-final, no less. Brisbane Roar, if they could start off their tenure with Ross Aloisi with a trophy, Australia Cup, that would be an incredible beginning to the relationship with Ross Aloisi, head coach. Melbourne City. Still thinking of that Melbourne City-Sydney game. Brisbane Roar controlling possession early on here, and you'd expect them to be controlling most possession. Kieran Bramwell, former Perth Glory striker, playing on that right wing for Melbourne Knights, just ahead of Ivan Franjic. Ivan Franjic, the captain of this side for Melbourne Knights. It definitely is Florin Berenguer playing in that number 10 position alongside Waddingham as well. He'll have a bit of a free roll as well. We saw it when Henry Horb has played that position in this cup so far. He will be drifting around Florin Berenguer, which I think will suit him very well. Ozzy said it's going to be a Raw Sydney final. The Suncorp would be incredible. Oh, dude, that would be great for Brisbane fans. Wouldn't that be epic? Wouldn't that be epic? As, of course, we know that we do not have the final venue set yet. Usually it's decided by a draw to decide which team gets to host. But we do know the final will take place on Saturday, October 7. Good to see you back here as well. Berenguer on the ball. A bit wayward with that pass there. So, Jay O'Shea playing a little bit deeper alongside Joe Coletti. A chance for Sydney United to spring down the left-hand side. Breaks down a bit quickly, though. Melbourne Knights coach Ben Kahn would have got his side prepared for this one. Very, very good coach. Wary of the threat that Brisbane Roar possess. Nicely done there. Joey Coletti forward for Waddingham. And the wide pass there to Armiento. Didn't release it, though. Okay. Thomas Waddingham, though. Speaking of strikers, a lot of concern around Brisbane Roar and their striking department. But I tell you what, Thomas Waddingham has shown up and, well, it's silenced me. Silenced the critics. Very early on in his professional career, but is looking pretty good. Slotting in pretty well so far in this Brisbane Roar lineup. You signing Jonas Markovsky on the bench as well for Brisbane Roar, alongside a couple of other familiar names. Tarish Kamulka in there. Ayam Majok. You can see here this defensive shape for Melbourne Knights, which they'll be hoping holds strong for them for 90 minutes. Sort of a 4-1-4-1 almost. We saw a very good defensive display earlier on today, didn't we? Sydney FC were fantastic in holding up Melbourne City. O'Shea can't keep it in. Louis Zabala's done a good job at left back too. I mean, in place of The absent Corey Brown, who's back at the club. Did you see Glenn Moss on Thursday night? Yes, Glenn Moss as a backup keeper for Macarthur FC for Macarthur's opening AFC Cup game, which was a real shock, a real surprise. Apparently, maybe a shortage in the goalkeeping ranks. No Robinson, no Alex Robertson, no Philip Curto for the Bulls. So Glenn Moss, yes, interesting. If the Knights make the final, do they host since they are the NPL team? Aussie, I tell you what, that's a great question. That's a great question. I'm not sure if that applies for the final. I don't think it does. It might. If someone knows, let me know. That's a good question, because obviously usually it does apply in all the other circumstances. The final itself might be different. They might still do a draw for that. Imagine that. Imagine the cup final here at the stadium for Melbourne Knights. Tom Aldred, of course, wearing the captain's armband as always for Brisbane Roar. Very underrated defender, Tom Aldred. Will be key once again for Brisbane this year. Boston, how's it going, mate? Good to see you here. Seven minutes in, yet to see any real sights on goal for either side. It's been pretty competitive across the middle of the park so far. Waddingham goes down very easily there. Giving the ball away, though, and chance for Brisbane to come forward. Berenguer. Armiento. Delivers. Should be able to get rid of this here. Knights, and they do. If Melbourne Knights were to win this fixture, it would go down as one of their most historic wins in the club's history. A semi-final in the Australia Cup for the first time ever for the Knights. We've seen other Melbourne clubs, NPL clubs there before. Melbourne Knights are the next one. Waddingham. Needed to get that pass online. Here's Coletti. Overlap of Hingett. Jack Hingett, an experienced campaigner. From memory, I'm trying to remember if he did play alongside Evan Franjic back in the day. Surely, right? Surely Franjic and Hingett were together in the same Brisbane squad, maybe back in 2014. Roar with the ball in opposition territory, knocking it around well, just trying to find the spaces, trying to pull this Melbourne Knights team apart. Armiento on the left, nice move, and the delivery will be blocked by Franjic. That's going to be a fascinating duel, actually, on that left-hand side for Brisbane. Armiento up against Franjic. Armiento, when he gets a cross in, man, it's always a dangerous one. How's the tea, Lockie asks Boston? Lovely tea. Thank you for asking, man. Gotta have the tea. Ante Kovic at the bench at Wellington Phoenix. Wow, I never knew that. Does that actually happen? Sam says Hingett's been at Raw a long time. Indeed. I think out of all the players there, has been there the longest, right? Surely. Jack Hingett. Many, many seasons with the Raw. a mainstay at right back. Forward play down the right for Knights was good. Kieran Bramwell, man, a player who I was a fan of when he was at Perth Glory. Combining with Mitchell Hoare, brother of Henry Hoare. We do have one Hoare brother playing today. No Henry Hoare today, unfortunately. But it's his brother, Mitchell Hoare, who is representing the family here today for Melbourne Knights. There you go, 18-19 season when Kovic was on the bench. Backed up Sale for a 3-1 win over Sydney after Kurto got hurt the previous week. There you go. Random. Love those random facts. Random A-League facts. It's good. Looks like a cracking day in Melbourne, man. The weather looks awesome. Hope the weather's good wherever you guys are tuning in from. Appreciate you guys tuning in as always. If you want to support, you can hit the like button. You can also send through a super chat. Super chats go a long way to helping me continue to make content here on the channel. I greatly appreciate you guys tuning in, man. Being here, helping grow the community of Australian football fans. There's a long-range shot for Franjic. Was not too far away from the target and took a touch for a corner. That's the first real chance of the match. It might be the first shot of the game. And I tell you what a goal that would have been if Franjic had scored a worldie against his former team. Decent effort. Hey, Dom's here. Good to see you here, Dom. Hope all is well. Melbourne Knights have a corner. Deep corner. Headed back in. Great chance. Little backheel there. Wasn't a bad idea. And it does trickle wide. Oh boy. No worries, Boston. Enjoy the rest of your night, man. Do NPL clubs have more of a fan base? I wouldn't say so. There's some that have fantastic fan bases. But when you look at some of the attendances and memberships that the other clubs get, then it's pretty high. There are some of the smaller clubs that are still growing, like MacArthur SC is still very young. There'll definitely be some NPL clubs that have a bigger fan base than them. But sometimes it's tricky to measure fan bases, like if you're looking at membership sizes or, stuff like that. Lemon J asks, why is the live stream on Template not working? Working okay for me. Working all right for me, Lemon J. Hopefully it starts working for you. Anyone else having any troubles on Template, or are you all right? Brock says, don't you get Asia spots for winning the Oz Cup? Yes, indeed. As we've seen from MacArthur SC, you get a spot in the AFC Cup, which is the second tier of Asian competition. Armiento's delivery, not bad. Offside flags up anyway. Yes, Australia Cup winners get a spot in the AFC Cup, as MacArthur have done this year. They made their debut in the AFC Cup just the other night, Thursday evening. MacArthur FC picked up a 3-0 win away to Shan United in Myanmar, which might be the first time that we've seen an A-League club play in Myanmar, of all places. You could see there a moment ago, Brisbane Roar playing a really intense press there on the back line. Almost worked out. Who are the star players here? Asks AT24. Good question. I mean, star players, probably for Brisbane Roar, Florin Berenguer. He's starting today. And his first start for Brisbane Roar. Creative midfielder, playing in an attacking role. Keep an eye on him, wearing number 7 today for Brisbane Roar. LD, you can watch the game on 10 Play. 10 Play. It's sometimes a bit tricky to navigate on 10 Play. You can scroll. You have to scroll to the end of the or the list of programs, live programs. It's going to be a bit tricky. Sam says, saw your post about MacArthur's lack of advertisements. Lockie, not great given it should be a big thing for any team. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. It was really disappointing, hey? Really, really disappointing. It was weird too, because like I thought, but on the day of the match, I was like, we still haven't seen anything. I was like, what's going on? And like checked the Bulls socials, and I was like, they literally haven't posted anything about this game. It was so weird for a professional club to do that for like the first game in Asia, in like an Asian competition. That's like huge, and they hadn't posted any. I mean, they'd posted something like a week before about their tickets for their home AFC Cup games, but there was nothing to indicate to their fans that they were playing a game that night, which is so weird. I don't know how that happens. Like, how is there not someone at the club, like, you know, calling that out? They did, of course, you know, like post like the lineup graphics and like they posted about the game, but prior to it, MacArthur didn't advertise anything about the AFC Cup game, which was weird. Dom says, would an NPL club making the AFC Cup just be more financial stress than what it's worth? Unhell will get funding, but these guys have jobs. It's a good point, Dom. It's a good point. And I don't know if that'll happen anytime soon. It would be massive. I shouldn't say it won't happen anytime soon. It could happen. We just saw Sydney United in the Cup final last time around. It would be interesting. I tell you what, it would be fascinating to see how it would pan out. I don't know how that would work out. It'd be awesome. It'd be cool. Here's O'Shea. What a run, Jay O'Shea. He could go all the way. Take a deflection. Waddingham, it's in. And it's a goal for Brisbane. And Thomas Waddingham continues his fine form in the Australia Cup. Correct me if I'm wrong. That might be a third goal in the Australia Cup for Waddingham. Messi at the back for Melbourne Knights. Well done, JSJ. Look at him winning the ball in midfield, driving forward, found the space, tried to get a shot off. It was deflected into the path of Waddingham. Great goal there, Brisbane. Waddingham had to be on his toes there because the keeper was so close to getting to that first. Flag stays down. Brisbane Roar have the lead. Huge. Up the Roar, says Ollie. Fantastic. Oh my goodness. Is there any way to watch the game in New Zealand? Sam, great question. I'm not sure. Does anyone know? I'm not sure. So, first half strike for Brisbane. They take the lead. Promising start for the A-League team. Looked good so far. Nice ball movement here. Look at this. The passing play, that's the thing that's impressed me most from Brisbane. The way they move the ball is so swift. Berenguer feeding it wide. Cutting that out is Franjic, who will look to bounce on the counter. Some space in the middle of the park here. Let's switch it to the left, Knights. What a start for Brisbane Roar. If you're just tuning in, Thomas Waddingham, the young striker, scoring again. Wonderful moment for the young fan. Are you a Brisbane or a Melbourne fan? Neither, as you can see from... Well, actually, that's a bit low. Let's raise that up a little bit. Let's do that. There we go. The champions. Central Coast Mariners, as you can see, we've got the signed jersey behind us. Let's move that a bit to the side, There we go. Mighty Central Coast Mariners, of course. Okay. Are you going to live stream? I assume you're asking about the North London Derby. No, yes, we are going live later tonight for the North London Derby, which I'm very excited about. Very excited about. It's on YouTube for international fans. There we go. Okay, that's good. So international fans can watch on YouTube, which is awesome. I know that they usually do that for the A-League too, which is great. We will be live later tonight. Arsenal v Tottenham in the Premier League. Kicks off at 11 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Backing Ange in his first ever North London derby. Armiento in the box for Brisbane. Nice work. Trying to get that through for Hingett. Ben Collins surely fouled there. Yes, it is. It is a foul. Good start so far for Brisbane, eh? Melbourne Knights just have to try and get themselves on the ball here, maintains possession. But look at this high press here from Brisbane. You can see the front four pushing very, very high. Looking to choke out Melbourne Knights when they're in the possession. Bramwell for Hoare. Well done, Zabala. Sam says, I'm hoping Spurs beat City when they meet. That'll be a big test for Spurs, won't it? Big test for Ange. Thoughts on Harry Suter not playing for Leicester? Disappointing. Disappointing, isn't it? Hopefully the situation turns around or something. At least we hope he can force a move in January. But it's not what we want from our star Socceroos centre-back, Harry Suter. Beautiful sunset, dude, in Melbourne. Look at this. It's prime. Love it. Amen. How's it going, man? Says, hopefully the Mariners contact Ben Khan after this game if they lose. I know a lot of Mariners fans very, very keen on Ben Khan being appointed as new manager. And look, I mean, taking an NPL team to the Australia Cup semi-finals is a pretty good way to advertise yourself. That's for sure. Hopefully Mariners do appoint someone soon with the A-League season around the corner. They need to bring in a manager ASAP. I'd expect for there to be an announcement, hopefully, in the next week or so. What happened with Rami Nazarene? Still contracted at Western United, as far as I'm aware. Troy says, I prefer Wilkshire as a coach. It seems fitting. Could happen as well. Wilkshire was at the Mariners last year as academy head coach. Was involved in the setup. So it'd be interesting to see who Mariners go for. There's a few names floating around. Ufuk Talay has been thrown out there, I think, on social media. I'd be keen for that too. Who's taking charge of the AFC Cup games? Of the AFC games. Oh, sorry. Who's taking charge of the AFC games? For Mariners. Abbasad has been the interim manager for Central Coast Mariners, who is a coach that's involved in the academy at Central Coast. Any Talay rumours, I'd be shocked if he isn't interested in the Mariners job. There has been rumours just online. I don't know if I've seen anything concrete. But his name has definitely been thrown out there on the socials. Look, if Talay is announced as Mariners coach, I'm cheering. I'm happy. That'd be a great appointment. We've seen the fantastic job that Talay has done with Wellington in a tricky period too. You got to remember, Talay managed Wellington through the pandemic period, which was one of the toughest periods for that club. Really, really tricky period there. And he did a good job. He got the team playing finals. Really, really good. So, look, I'd be happy for someone like Ufuk Talay to step in as well. Warren Moon, yeah, again, another one of those names thrown around, Warren Moon. Seems like a good guy, Warren Moon. Former Brisbane Roar coach, obviously. He probably wouldn't be at the top of my list. I would prefer someone like Ufuk Talay, but yeah. Nice ball through. Great chance here. Waddingham cutting it back for Barranquilla, just missing the pass. Maybe could have gone for the shot there. I don't mind the cutback, though. The pass was just offline. Great chance. Good chance there, says Ollie, indeed. Dom says, I know Scott McDonald hasn't got a ton of experience, but I'm shocked he hasn't been mentioned more. Yeah, another good, decent coach who's, again, had a decent cup run with Gold Coast Knights. Another Knights team. There's a few Knights teams in the cup, isn't there? That could be an interesting one as well, yeah. Sam says, I'm sad Tally couldn't win finals games for the Knicks. Only disappointing thing of his reign. Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? It would have been great to see. And I remember watching that elimination final against it was against Adelaide, wasn't it? Yeah, against Adelaide last season. I was hoping that they were going to get through because it would have been great to see Wellington have a home semi-final. That would have been epic, man. What a moment that would have been for the club. Hopefully one day Wellington get a home final. That would be a huge occasion. So, Brisbane Roar with a free kick here. Long range. Miento's standing over it, so it's going to be an outswinger. Delivery is low and poor. It's been pretty much all Brisbane Roar for the opening 27 minutes. Bar a long shot from Ivan Franjic. Hey, Julian, how's it going? I'm doing well, man. Good to see you here. Hope all is well. Hope you guys have enjoyed your weekends. Enjoyed some sunny weather here on the central coast of New South Wales. Nama says Zadkovic is an underrated coach. Can you agree with me? Yes, I would agree. I think Zadkovic did a decent job at Perth Glory. And yeah, he was one of those early on in preseason, right? Was one of those one of those coaches that announced he was leaving. So I think he's definitely could get another job with an A-League club. Will it be Mariners? That could be an interesting one. Not a lot of people have spoken about Ruben Zadkovic and the Mariners job. What about Dwight York? Well, that would be interesting. Back in the A-League, Dwight York? Maybe. Free kick again here for Brisbane. Armiento goes direct. And almost scores. Oh my gosh, what a goal that would have been from Carlo Armiento. One of the best left foots in the competition. Fantastic hit. Wow, what an effort. Great save by Oldfield, the Melbourne Knights keeper. Armiento, his left foot will be involved once again in this corner delivery. Again, looking to go direct. And again, Oldfield has to make the save. Oh my gosh, Armiento just having a pop whenever he gets the chance now. Not the first time today we've seen a left foot very busy. Joe Lolly scoring in the Australia Cup semi-final this afternoon against Melbourne City. I did see that, Julian. Yes, some word online that Western United are currently in talks to sign Nikita Rukavica, former Socceroo, former Perth Glory and Western Sydney Wanderers attacker. Very experienced. Would be a decent signing, though. Good player. Good pace. Another attacking option for Western United wouldn't hurt. Hopefully for them it eventuates. It would be interesting too because there is some talk, I think, around Alexander Prijovic whether he'll continue at the club. We didn't see Alexander Prijovic at all in the Australia Cup for the Green and Black. They played 3 matches in the Cup and no Prijovic. Forward play here for Brisbane once again. Down the right this time. Goes out of play. Really healthy crowd here at the home of the Melbourne Knights. Half an hour in. Melbourne Knights 0. Brisbane Roar 1. Again, look at this press for Brisbane. Pushing right up the field here, that front four. Sort of similar sort of setup we saw from Sydney FC today, actually. And it worked for the Sky Blues against Melbourne City. Will it work out here for Brisbane? But here come Melbourne Knights. They've broken through. Great chance. Franich on the overlap. Can't control it. Can't control it. Not happy with a not happy with a pass. Can you see Dwight York just replacing Steve Coric? Well, at this rate, Steve Coric is going to continue in the Sydney job for the foreseeable future. But yeah, I could see that happening simply because of Dwight York's relationship with Sydney FC. Obviously, a former player there. Another promising moment there for Knights. Fortunately for them, it broke down. Julian says supporting Brisbane today. Got to support Lewis's brother Ross. It's basically like a 4-2-4 almost that Brisbane Roar playing. The wingers are very high up the field. Nice play. Brisbane moving the ball well. Breaks down this time for a kick. There was no marquee signings this season. You're right. It could still happen. Could still happen. A couple decent free agents still on the market. But I tell you what, it hasn't. I'm not too bothered by it. Obviously, it's great signing, a big name player, but I guess as people say, it sort of allows the opportunity for young players to step up. Local homegrown players. Franich down the right for Melbourne Knights, looking to test this Brisbane Roar defence. Roar organised in defence so far, though. Ozzy says, I think Shay Cahill is a marquee signings of sorts. I think there's a thing called Young Marquee. Is there? I guess because of just the name associated. It's definitely a big signing. The son of the great Tim Cahill. I mean, there's always going to be a lot of attention around that when the name Tim Cahill pops up. Curious to see how Shay Cahill goes, man. I don't think he's on the bench today for Brisbane. But he did get some minutes in a pre-season friendly against Newcastle last week. Franich down the right again. Has looked like one of Melbourne Knights' most threatening attacking outlets here, Franich. Oh, beautiful ball of the top. It's just going to be a bit heavy, though. Like the idea. Yannick Balassi to Perth. Daniel Sturridge 2.0. That'd be an interesting one. Actually, who are some free agents? Feel free to throw some in the chat. Who's some free agents you reckon we could see in the A-League? I know David De Gea still doesn't have an A-League club, right? Sorry, an A-League, A club. Former Manchester United keeper. Yeah, who's some free agents that we could, the A-League could pick up? Jesse Lingard. He's training at West Ham at the moment, isn't he? Sam says Knicks are going to sign a player in the next week, but it'll be a young player. That's been the way forward, by the looks of things. They've signed a lot of young players. They've handed out a few scholarships, haven't they, in the opening weeks of pre-season. Eden Hazard. Tell you what, it could happen. It could happen. Knicks need a keeper, right? Well, I mean, Alex Paulson looks like he'll be the starting keeper at Phoenix, eh? And they signed Jack Duncan as well, so they should be okay. Jordan Holmes to Knicks could be interesting. I don't know if they need a third choice keeper. I think Paulson and Duncan usually has it covered. Forward play here. Cleared away. Ozhub Football says, not my key, but Rogic and Karacic would be good pickups for some clubs. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, would love to see Rogic back in the A-League especially. I mean, a player who's had an interesting sort of last couple of years where he's sort of faded away a little bit. Not in Socceroos contention. A couple of years ago, he was fantastic, man. Even for the Socceroos, he was still performing so well. Maybe a move to the A-League could just kickstart things for him. I mean, we saw that with someone like Brandon Borello, who came back to West Sydney Wanderers and had a great season last year. I'm sure a number of A-League clubs will be interested in Tom Rogic if he was keen on coming back. Phil Jones. Phil Jones in the A-League, wouldn't that be cool? Injury prone though, isn't he? Coletti. Long ball. Works out, but Zabala slips. Oh, well done, Louis Zabala. He slipped, but he's still going. And delivers. Close for Waddingham. Collins with a clearance. Corner. Schneiderlin, yeah. I mean, considering Schneiderlin still doesn't have a club at the moment, I'm surprised he didn't stick around in the A-League. I remember there was a rumour that Western United were interested in Schneiderlin. That could have been cool. How has Zabala done that, says Ozzy? Exactly, right? Like he slipped and I was like, oh no. And then he somehow still managed to keep it going. O'Shea's corner, headed away by Collins. Zabala to recover. Now Hingett. Well done, Louis Zabala. Really congested in this corner. Okay. Not long left to go in the half, man. It's gone by pretty quickly. And it's been almost entirely Brisbane Roar who have been dominating. Sam with a big shout says Paulson has a lot of potential. Best A-League keeper prospect since Matt Ryan. Big shout. Big shout. I think there's probably a few names we could put in there as well, Sam. Maybe Joe Gauci. Don't get me wrong, Alex Paulson, fantastic young keeper. Maybe a Joe Gauci in there. Maybe even a Tom Glover. Yeah, we definitely expect Alex Paulson to be the starting keeper for Wellington too, hey? Now that Ollie Sales departed. They did sign Jack Duncan, but Paulson started a couple Australia Cup games for Wellington against Peninsula Power and Melbourne City. Seam agrees goal this morning. I haven't seen it yet. I did hear that he scored. Was it a good goal? Sam says Gauchi's good too. He'll be at an overseas club soon. You'd imagine so, right? Surely. Ball over the top here for Brisbane. Good opportunity. French heads away. The Roar with 5 minutes to go in the half. Second goal would be big. Just to really take a big lead into the break. Melbourne Knights just trying to keep it to 1, I think. Get into the halftime sheds with a 1-goal deficit. And Ben Khan will try and marshal his troops for the second period. Do any A-League clubs have new keepers? Yes, quite a few actually. Western United's new starting keeper will be Thomas Heward-Bell. They've also got Matt Sutton there from Melbourne City. Alex Paulson, as we've been talking about, at Wellington Phoenix. Ollie Sale at Perth Glory now this season. Brisbane Roar, not necessarily a new keeper, but Macklin Freak looks to be the new starting keeper at Brisbane. They did also sign Matt Acton from Melbourne Victory. And Jamie Young at Melbourne City. And I don't think there's any... Ryan Scott is the new starting keeper at Newcastle Jets. So there's quite a few clubs that have new starting keepers. Yeah. Western United have changed all their keepers. Made 2 keeper signings this off-season. Unfortunately, I believe Miguel Miranda left to join Monty in Scotland. I believe so. Yeah, goalkeeping coach Miguel Miranda, I believe, joined Hibernian with Monty and Sergio. Is Ryan Scott favourite to start in for Newcastle in goal? I believe so. He's started every game we've seen from Newcastle so far. So yes, I believe so. Chance here for Brisbane, Miliuznic. Shipping it in towards Armiento, headed away. Newcastle Jets also have Michael Ware on the books, and he did start a lot of games for them in the last couple of years. But it looks like Ryan Scott is going to be the starter. Tarnley asks, who are the young players to watch this season? Ooh, there's a bunch. Adelaide United, youngster Johnny Yule set for a big year. I think Central Coast Mariners centre-back Nathan Paul is looking pretty good so far. Who else we got? Corey Holman has been starting in midfield for Sydney FC. Jake Goodwood-Reich at Sydney's looked good so far. Big campaign coming up for Alessandro Lapane at Melbourne City. He started in the Cup semi-final today on the wing. Who else we got? Thomas Waddingham, who's playing right now for Brisbane. He just scored. Striker. Who else? You guys got any other shouts as well? Daniel Benny at Perth Glory scored a fantastic goal in that friendly against West Ham a couple months ago now. Glenn Moss for the Bulls. Good old Glenn Moss. We love Glenn Moss. Dom, I missed your comment before as well. Says this stadium is perfect for Australian football. Absolutely. It's lovely, isn't it? I mean, that far grandstand is pretty full. There's a lot of fans packed into there. I think that grandstand alone would hold a couple thousand. And there's a lot of people standing around. The crowd here must be at least 4,000 or 5,000. As you can see, even on this near side, there's fans dotted all around. Eunice and Simmons at Wanderers, absolutely. Yeah, man, Marcus Eunice has looked really good off the bench for Wanderers in the Cup. Yeah, look, I'm sure there's a bunch of young players who we're not even thinking of right now who will surprise, who will show up and tear it up. Fabian Monge, promising young player at Melbourne Victory. Formerly of Apia Leichhardt, keeping up for Fabian Monge. Alongside Ryan Teague as well, the Ollie Root. Ollie asks, what football club in Australia do you think has the best atmosphere? Well, I've never been to a game of theirs, a home game of theirs to be fair, but Melbourne Victory I think would be up there. Melbourne Victory, when their fans in Melbourne derbies, massive. But I'll tell you what, Sydney derbies, the atmosphere at Sydney derbies are always crazy. I went to the Sydney derby last year in the elimination final, and that was mental, man. That was crazy. That was so good. Ooh, heavy collision in the middle there. Berenguer's down and hurt. Holding his knee. Yeah, Kaczarski at Sydney, absolutely. Scored a great goal in the round of 32 of the Australia Cup. York Des is here as well. This is looking like my prediction of an NPL team winning the cup is false as of now. Indeed, it's still searching for a goal here today, as we are into 2 minutes of injury time here at the end of the first half. Brisbane Roar up 1-0, courtesy of a goal to Thomas Waddingham, who finished from close range. Yes, I did do griddle today. We did griddle earlier on in our first stream today. We were live for Melbourne City, Sydney. I got 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10, which I'll take. And you got 6. There you go. Not bad. Not bad. I think I'm optimistic to think, though, just going back to Ollie's comment there about football atmosphere in Australia, I'd like to think that we'll see attendances and numbers grow. I think Melbourne Victory, I'd like to see their numbers grow once again. Sydney FC, if they can have a successful Australia Cup, potentially win the thing, maybe they'll see their attendances grow. Wanderers as well. That's half time. Brisbane Roar leading 1-0 at the break. Melbourne Knights had a couple moments here and there, but it was really Brisbane Roar who were dictating the play. But it's just a 1-goal lead. It's a 1-goal lead. So look, Melbourne Knights are in this game. Melbourne Knights are in this game. We saw them leave it late to come back to defeat Heidelberg United. It's going to take a big effort to get past Brisbane Roar here, who are looking pretty good so far in the Australia Cup. How are we feeling so far? Sam says I got a 573 obscurity score the other day in Griddle. That's very nice. Love it. I love it. I like that they added the obscurity score thing. It's cool. It's very cool. They're showing some they're showing some shots of the crowd. It looks fantastic, man, as the sun sets in Melbourne. The twilight kickoff here, this one. We are set for a nighttime second half. Who's your favourite European club? Ollie, I will reveal. Boom. Oh, wait. Boom. The mighty Tottenham Hotspur. I've been a Spurs fan for almost as long as I've been a Mariners fan. A little bit less. Very keen to watch Spurs tonight in the North London Derby, and that is our next live stream. We will be live in a few hours' time for the North London Derby Watchalong. So make sure you join us for that. It's kicking off at 11 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Very, very excited for that one. What a huge match. Ange Postecoglou, Spurs coach, in his first ever North London Derby. Huge. Arsenal Spurs, who you guys got winning? Let me know. Let me know. It's hard to pick, isn't it? I think it's harder to pick than it seems. I think I want to go a draw. I think I want to go a draw in that one. Maybe a 2-2. 2-2 in the North London Derby. I think, look, Arsenal are a quality side. We know that. But Spurs, I think, have enough to get a result from the game, which would be okay. I think a draw would be an okay result. Arsenal won in the Champions League midweek as well, as we know. Jacob's here. How's it going, Jacob? Says this game is very cagey. It has been very cagey, isn't it? Very competitive in midfield. Ruben's back in a 1-1 draw. Yoktes says a narrow Arsenal win. I think it would be close. It has to be close. I can't see it being separated by more than one goal. Sam's back in a draw as well. Aussie's back in 2-0 Spurs. Dude, if Ange and Tottenham can get a 2-0 win, if Ange and Tottenham can get a 2-0 win at the Emirates, that would be huge. That would be monumental. I mean, that would really... I mean, everyone already is a big fan of Ange and what he's doing at Tottenham. If they win 2-0 to rivals Arsenal, who was second in the Premier League last year, that's a huge result. So, it's a big occasion, isn't it? Sam says, hopefully Saka and Udogi for my FPL team. 230k in the world right now. Nice. Very good. So, what else we got coming up this week, actually? What else? What in Australian football? What's coming up? With the Australia Cup starting to wrap up, all eyes now looking to the A-League. Let me have a look at my calendar. The old calendar. Got the Australia Cup final on Saturday, October 7, which isn't too far away. A couple weeks away. And then, actually, it's all on from then. I mean, next weekend is basically the last sort of free weekend until the A-League gets underway. Because on October 7, we've got the Australia Cup. And then the week after that, we've got the A-League women's kicking off. And then the week after that, they've got the A-League men's kicking off. Very exciting. We've also got Socceroos involved in matches against England and New Zealand. That's on October 14 against England, October 18 against New Zealand. So October's a busy month, man. And then at the end of the month, we've got Matildas. Matildas are back in action in, I believe that's Asian Cup qualifying, isn't it? So next month's busy month too. Wow. Very busy month. Dom says, come on, Brisbane final. I'd love to see Brisbane host the final. It'd be fun. Dom says, 7 out of 9 griddle win percentage for Adelaide and Western Sydney. And that was the same for me, Dom. Exactly the same. Exactly the same. They were tricky. I went Nestori and Kunda for the win percentage for Adelaide, and I was wrong. Jacob says, final will definitely be in Sydney, which would be sad if we get through because an Australia Cup final Suncorp would pop off. Well, I don't know. For memory, Jacob, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they do a draw to decide the hosts. I remember they did that a couple of years ago for Mariners Melbourne Victory. They do a draw. So hopefully they do a draw again. I don't think there's anything. I haven't seen anything saying that the location has been locked in, unless I'm mistaken. Leroy asks, where can I watch this game live? You can watch on 10 Play. 10 Play. Viewers in Australia can watch on 10 Play. If you're outside of Australia, you can watch. I believe there's a stream on YouTube you can watch. So this game is available to watch for free for all, which is great. Went both Gouchy and Shamey Young. They were both 46. That's close, dude. Wow. Yes, I did get 7 on Griddle today. The FA decide, is that right? Interesting. Well, it'll be very interesting to see what they do then. I saw someone that the draw might happen right after the game, says Ozzy. Well, I tell you what, let's keep an eye on it. We'll stay live. If it does happen, we'll stay live for a few moments after just to see if they do a draw. Let's see if I can have a look online as well. It seems almost like it's different every year in terms of like what they do. Australia Cup. But I do recall a couple of years ago when Mariners were in it, they just did a draw. And it was painful too because us Mariners fans were hoping for like a home cup final. Would have been great. I'm having a little Google search here. It says on the Football Australia website. There you go. Well, hey, I tell you what, if Brisbane go through, it would be great for Brisbane to host. It would be great. I think it would be fair. I think it makes sense. York says, I'm a Sydney boy, and I agree a Brisbane hosted final would be a banger. The Roar need it, to be honest. Yeah, 100%. I think, yeah. I mean, it'd be big for Brisbane Roar. I mean, big narrative for them is they're trying to get to their first final in a long, long time. Last time they won a final was 2014, the A-League Grand Final against West Sydney Wanderers at Suncorp. Tell you what, though, Brisbane Roar fans would show up in big numbers for a cup final at Suncorp. Match stats so far. Possession stats pretty even, actually. 52% for Brisbane. 3 shots on target for Brisbane. Melbourne Knights yet to register a shot on target. So it's Brisbane just edging it in the stats. So as we've been saying, it is quite a tight and cagey game, but Roar look like they seem to be cruising pretty well. I think they should be able to close out from here. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in as always. We've got the second half just around the corner. If you want to support the stream, make sure you hit the like button. You can also consider sending in a super chat, which greatly help me out here on the channel. But as always, just appreciate you guys tuning in here, and definitely keen to do more A-League stuff throughout the upcoming weeks as we prepare for the A-League season. EAFC is here. The Ultimate Edition, at least, is here. The trial is here. So definitely keen to jump into some career mode stuff. If you guys would be keen for some live career mode stuff with some A-League clubs, I'm definitely keen to do that. Jump into that with some A-League teams live here on stream as well, which would be fun. That's right. Sydney have already hosted a final before. Give it to the Roar, says Aussie. Jacob says, I like the thought of an away day for the final. The only reason I want it at Suncorp is because I know how many fans would turn up for the final. Yeah, and like Sydney would get massive numbers heading up for that one, obviously, as well, hey. Sam says, anyone remember Nathan Burns? Sadly, he fell off after coming back to the Knicks. Nathan Burns, yes. Fantastic player. Tore it up for Jets, for Wellington, for Adelaide too, back in the day. And for the Socceroos, wasn't he? He was part of the 2015 Asian Cup squad, wasn't he? That won the Asian Cup for Australia. Under a certain Ange Postecoglou. Dom says, I think they'll be more inclined to go Brisbane. I mean, surely, right? I mean, especially, just to, after the whole Sydney, if we're just talking like, common sense, after the whole Sydney hosting final thing, I mean, they're surely going to throw it up to Brisbane. Surely. Especially, actually, I mean, it's another big factor to it is the fact that Brisbane are like returning to Suncorp Stadium. That's one of the big things for Brisbane this year. They're back in their traditional home. Brisbane Roar, where they've had back at Suncorp Stadium, where they've had so much success before. They've won many trophies there at that stadium. Wouldn't it be great for them to lift one more trophy there? And it would be a great way to sort of like kick off. Like you would get like a bunch of people signing up for memberships. If Brisbane Roar could win a home final at Suncorp, you'd have a bunch of fans, that could advertise like the A-League season's kicking off in a couple of weeks. Sign up for membership so we can have more fun times here at Suncorp Stadium. It'd be a great way to advertise for the upcoming season. So hopefully it happens. Sam says it was disappointing how Burns' career ended. He was injured and the Knicks signed him. Ben Wayne, who didn't have a pro contract at the time, was preferred to Burns at the end of the 18-19 season. There you go. Bit of a A-League history lesson there. Love it. All right, I'm going to go get a drink. We're back in 2 seconds. Second half just around the corner. Suncorp won't be used for 2 weeks before the final. Oh, true, right, because the rugby season's finishing up. True. Good point, Dom. Ollie asks, what is the date for the Australia Cup final? Again, it is October 7, Saturday, October 7. I believe they have penciled out the whole weekend for that, though, so there's a chance it could be on the Sunday, but yeah, most likely October 7, Saturday. All right. The mighty Brisbane Roar are 45 minutes away from returning to a final. Huge occasion. Melbourne Knights looking to rescue this one. Thomas Waddingham with the only goal of the game so far. Teams are back out. Second half. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Can Melbourne Knights rescue a way back into this game? Or will Brisbane Roar be able to hold on and qualify for the Australia Cup final? Free kick. It is. Bit of a heavy challenge there. Not necessarily a heavy challenge, actually. Almost a high boot there. Flying in with a raised boot there, Scott Neville. So, early free kick here for the Knights. I do remember that, Sam. Yeah. Blake Powell's set 4 goals against Sydney Wanderers for the Knicks. Yeah, the old Parramatta Stadium, right? Long-range free kick for the Knights. Delivery is flicked on and away. Melbourne Knights, their best run in the Australia Cup ever for them. Making it to the semi-finals. Brisbane Roar. The second consecutive year that they've made it to the semi-final. Looking to make it one more better to the final itself. Miljuznic is in behind and into the box. Cutting it back. Can't find a teammate. Hingit. Miljuznic. Berenger. Coletti. Joey Coletti's had a good game in midfield. Back at Brisbane. Spent some time at Adelaide United as well, didn't he? Currently tied for the best run Roar have done in the Australia Cup last year. That's right, Ollie. Indeed. Knocked out against Sydney United in the semi-final last year. Did face Sydney United in the round of 16. Got the win this time around. O'Shea driving forward. Nicely done. Finds Miljuznic free on the right, who delivers. His crosses are looking dangerous, but Knight's doing a good job of defending them out so far. Considering the amount of time that Brisbane have spent sort of, on the ball and, in dangerous areas, you would have hoped that they would have had a few more goals by now. But credit to the Knights, who've done a good job of holding Brisbane just to the one goal. O'Shea. Oh, nice little back heel. Unfortunately, didn't work out. Goes out of play. Dude, Ross Aloisi is not happy. Oh my goodness. Ross, every time they've shown Ross Aloisi on camera, he is blowing up at his players. Like some serious death stares, man. He's not happy at all. Adam says Suncorp Stadium is free. All the rugby league finals are at a core stadium in Sydney next Sunday. That's right. Indeed. Which is good news for the Brisbane Roar if they do want to host that Australia Cup final. Aussie says Roar have scored more in the second half in every game so far this tournament. That's a good stat to point out there, Aussie. Hopefully for them they finish strongly here. That's a great ball through by O'Shea. Armiento's going to shoot. And the keeper will claim this one. Looks like the flag might be up though. It is. Ibrahim here, how's it going? Says, how's Brizzy playing? They're doing pretty well so far. They're just on top. Could have had a couple more goals by now, but Melbourne Knights doing a really good job of defending so far. Need, I think, another goal just to make things safe for them. Here come Knights over the top. Great chance. And the shot was over the bar, but it was a huge opportunity for the Knights who are still searching for that first shot on target. What a ball over the top, though, for Albino. Very close indeed. Five minutes into this half. Already a lively start to this half, which is good to see. Waddingham, nice ball through for Armiento. Ben Collins does well to make the clearance. Don't forget, we're going to be live later tonight for the North London Derby. Arsenal Spurs coming up. Nice play. Ben Collins at the back for Melbourne Knights today, former Western United defender. Played a part in their championship winning season. A small part, that should be said though, was on the bench for many games for the Green and Black. Here's Miliusnich down the right. Behind for a corner. So Brisbane Roar, I do think need this second goal. They need it. Just to reduce the blood pressure of their head coach Ross Aloisi, who's looking very stressed on the sidelines at the moment, despite his team winning at the moment. O'Shea assessing his options for this corner, chipping it up nicely. Neville and two players have gone down in the box with a bit of a head clash. It's Collins and Neville. Hopefully, two guys all right. No worries, Sam. Yeah, it should be a great game, hey? Wow, dude. I mean, Ben Collins went flying in for that, and the two players, unfortunately, colliding with the head. Scott Neville. Maybe it was a shoulder, in fact. Or was it the back of the head of Collins, maybe? Both players currently being treated. Scott Neville. Doesn't look like he's in a very good way. Scott Neville still yet to get to his feet. I think there might be a concern for a cheekbone here. The physio is feeling around the cheek area as Melbourne Knights prepare their first change of the game. Scott Neville's back to his feet now, which is good to see. Sam says, I'm shocked Neville's still around. He's been playing forever. He's been around for a long time, hasn't he, Scotty Neville? He's been at Brisbane Roar for a number of years now. With Newcastle Jets as well. Was at West Sydney Wanderers, Perth Glory. A mainstay in the A-League, Scott Neville. Born in the UK. There you go. Very one of the more experienced players in this Brisbane Roar squad. Scott Neville. So, back underway. Such a play's good. Now, Paul Meccano is the player who came on for Melbourne Knights to replace College. Waddingham trying to fashion a chance. Miliuznic. Good block in the end. Well, out of nowhere, that chance appeared for Brisbane. And a decent chance it was too, wasn't it? Hingett. Miliuznic, can they fashion the opening? Miliuznic from range. Well, I'll tell you what, it was sort of dipping there. When he took the shot, I was like, no, don't do it, Nicola. Don't do it. He had a hit, but that was dropping. That was seriously dropping that strike, and it would have been a crazy goal, but still Brisbane search for the second. Great turnout here at the Melbourne Knights home stadium. Shot starts on the broadcast. 6 for Brisbane, 3 for Melbourne Knights, which probably you would have expected more shots from Brisbane. It feels like it's been more at least. Have gotten the ball into good positions, but again, it's the defending from Melbourne Knights, which has been pretty solid. There you go, 4 out of 6 shots for Brisbane on target, whereas Melbourne Knights still searching for their first shot on target. Melbourne Knights have really taken it to the A-League opposition here today. Just 1 goal, the deficit. They're still in this. Oh, heavy challenge in the middle. It's going to be advantage played. Armiento takes it forward. I think it was O'Shea who was whopped out. Armiento shot. Parried wide for a corner. But Jay O'Shea got absolutely axed here, and it's going to be a yellow card for Mitchell Hall. Oh my gosh, dude. He got whacked, didn't he? Ando asked, does the A-League start in a month? Yes, indeed. The A-League Women's starts on October 14. The A-League Men's competition kicks off on October 20. So not long to go. Oh my gosh, completely axed there, Jay O'Shea. Winded. Mitchell Hall fully committed to that challenge. Jay O'Shea. Wow. Still being treated at the moment, Jay O'Shea. Yes, very excited for the A-League in the kickoff. Ando says, cool, I'm new to football, trying to support local. Love it, Ando. That's awesome, man. Good on you. The A-League is still a very young competition, but an exciting competition, and I always encourage new people to jump on board if they're interested. It's a lot of fun once you get invested in it. Next month, the A-League kicks off. Corner for Brisbane once again. Delivery's good. Headed away. It was Collins again, who's been very good at the back for the Knights. Knights can counter here if they want. Franjic on the right. Inside for Hawk. I haven't really had many, like, the few chances that Knights have just been sort of counter-attacks where they've just managed to get sort of one player in behind, but there we go, they've got a free kick here, handball. So a chance here to really create some sort of, sustained attacking moves. That's right. Ando says, I follow the Prem, but knowing your own country's league is probably better. Yeah, well, I mean, you can do both, obviously. Hey, I mean, pretty much everyone that I know that follows the A-League also follows the Premier League, so. But yeah, I think it's great getting invested in your own league, getting around to the games and stuff. All right, free kick here for Knights. Delivery's headed away. Not ideal, that delivery. Down the right-hand side, there is a chance for the Knights here. What can they fashion? Delivery's good here for Franjic. He challenged for that one, but it's cleared away. Have you got a club that you've decided to support, Ando, in the A-League? Substitution for the Brisbane Roar being made on the hour mark. Alex Parsons back at the club to replace Carlo Armiento, one left-footed player for another. Sam says, I follow the Premier League, but will always prefer the A-League. Chance to watch football at ideal times instead of 2, 3 a.m. starts. That's right. Much more comfortable, isn't it? Alex Parsons spent last season at Sydney FC. Didn't quite manage to break into that team. A few appearances off the bench. Now back at Brisbane, where he was so impressive a couple of years ago. Ruben says, the thing I love about the A-League is that the rivalries from Europe pretty much go out the window when the A-League is on. Aussie says, I've been following football my whole life. Probably got into the Premier League in the 1920 season when Villa got promoted, and the A-League in the last 2 seasons. Very nice. Very nice. Very good. Good to see Boston here as well. As we pass the hour mark, Melbourne Knights now are trying to really make a move and gain some control of this game. Ruben says, I've pretty much been following both the EPL and A-League since I first started watching sport in 2011. Nice. So Brisbane Roar having to do some defensive work now. Really strong crowd at this game here, trying to cheer their home team on. Melbourne Knights looking for a route back into this game, but it only takes one moment, one chance. One moment of magic. Here's a nice little move here. Knights into the box, the delivery. Headed away. Coletti can't get that clear. Boston asks, if Raw win this, will they host the final or will Sydney FC host? We were talking about that a little bit before, actually. And there was some thought that there might be a draw, but apparently online it says that there might just be the FA deciding. It might just be up to Football Australia deciding where to host it. So, look, we were saying before we'd love to see Brisbane hosted if they do get through. That would be awesome. Sam says, I've been following the A-League since 16-17. Was never really into football until 2016. Interesting. It's cool. It's cool hearing sort of people's different stories about getting into football. And sort of, when they started following it and stuff like that. And sort of the different, different tournaments or different things, moments that sort of got them following it. Look at this. Oh, Brisbane Roar. Wait, what has happened here? Brisbane have 3 players in away on goal. They're going to score for sure. Parsons. Disaster. Well, that was crazy. Ollie says that was a great chance, but it was wasted. And Oldfield, the keeper for... Oh my God, he can't walk. Huge collision. Scott Neville with a challenge. What has happened there? Well, that was crazy. Now, Oldfield is down and writhing around in pain, the Melbourne Knights keeper. He's being treated right now as we speak. He got absolutely axed by Alex Parsons. That was remarkable. There was no one at home for Melbourne Knights. Remarkably. I don't know how they left that so wide open. And that had to be a certain goal for Brisbane Roar. That is a dreadful touch from Alex Parsons. And oh my goodness, the collision with Oldfield was horrific. Meanwhile, up the other end of the pitch, Scott Neville with a terrible challenge as well. This game has all of a sudden exploded. Ruben says the Knights keeper is gone. I'd be surprised if he continues here. He seems to be in a really bad way. He's currently being treated here. But that was a huge collision. And he couldn't walk afterwards. He couldn't even put weight in his legs. He's in pain. They're trying to treat him, and he's in so much pain. You can see it on his face. Dude. Meanwhile, replay of that challenge. That's an awful challenge from Scott Neville. I mean, I know we're focused on the challenge on the keeper here, but that has to be a card there, surely, for Scott Neville. That was a dreadful tackle as well. I mean, how did Brisbane not score there, though? To get 3 players clear away on goal, you got to score, surely. Parsons should have teed it up. He had Miljusic, who was wide open for a guaranteed goal. Luckily, Oldfield's back to his feet. Just trying to test it out. He's wincing in pain with every step. It's a big call here that Melbourne Knights have to make. That's right. Thanks for that, Boston. You like the 2 kits. Got the Celtic and Mariners kits up here today. We're wearing a Spurs kit as well. What did I miss, says Troy? Well, there hasn't been too much, to be fair. There's been the 1 goal for Brisbane so far, but just now there's been a bit of an incident with the Melbourne Knights goalkeeper who was involved in a heavy collision with Alex Parsons. Brisbane absolutely should have had a second. I'll tell you what, if Melbourne Knights come back in this game, Brisbane are all going to be looking back on that chance. They had to score there. They simply had to score there. But the action is now at the other end of the pitch. Melbourne does have a free kick in a great position here. 4-man wall. White and Dazelle standing over it here. The shot over the bar. Over the bar. Yeah, man, I dig this Spurs kit. This is the away kit from a few seasons ago, and I love it. One of my favorite kits. A couple changes here for Brisbane. Gumwalker's coming on, and it's going to be a debut here for Markovsky. New signing who was announced just this past week for Brisbane. He's wearing the number 8. Number 8, a number which has been worn by some Brisbane Roar legends. Massimo Madoka. Who else for Brisbane? Who else for Brisbane has worn number 8? Thomas Waddingham coming off, the goal scorer. So it'll be Markovsky playing up top, you'd imagine. Taras Kamorka has come on to replace Joey Coletti in midfield. Straight swap there. Kamorka, good leap. So, a few fresh faces on the field here for Brisbane. Did Matthew Scarcella play for Sydney today? No, he didn't, Boston. He wasn't. I don't believe he was on the bench either. A couple of their new signings were on the bench today for Sydney, but no Scarcella today. Enrique. Did he win a point? He might have. I think Enrique was either 10 or 11. Brisbane on the left. 20 minutes to go in this contest. Miliusnic. Challenged off the ball there. Free kick. Correct decision in my eyes. $20 minutes to go. 20 minutes for Brisbane to find a second to secure their place in the Australia Cup final. 20 minutes for Melbourne Knights to make a comeback. And be just the second ever NPL team to qualify for the Australia Cup final. Joshua, how's it going, man? Says, us our thoughts on Sydney's return back to dominance. Well, I'll tell you what, they've looked really, really good so far in this Australia Cup. Really impressed with the way that they're playing. Joe Lolly, Anthony Caceres, Patrick Wood, these guys tearing it up at the moment, man. Looking really, really impressive as Brisbane Roar just missed the goal. I think Sydney FC are a serious chance to push for the top this year in the A-League. The way that they're playing, they've built a very good squad too. And, you know, they've added to it with the signings of Fabio Gomez and Gabriel Lacerda as well, the two Brazilian players. I think they're going to be a really strong team this year, Sydney. Costa Barbaristas, are we talking about here? Sam says, I'm not looking forward to another year of Costa, one of the most overrated players in the A-League ever. I think Costa's he's past his best, you know. Like there's no doubt for victory and for Sydney as well that he did a decent job, but yeah, he was really underwhelming at Wellington, wasn't he? There was a lot of excitement, I think, when he returned to Phoenix, but yeah. Zabala in the box. Good chance for Brisbane. Miliusnic is there and somehow misses. That's going to be a corner. Brisbane can't seem to take an opportunity at the moment. Great chance for Miliusnic. Did that take a touch? Didn't look like it took a touch. It must have. Ibrahim says Melbourne City will be a good team in this season. Well, look, I think they will once again. I don't think they'll be as dominant as last time around. Melbourne City, they showed today that they were outclassed by Sydney FC. No worries, Boston. Another change here for Melbourne Knights as they get some more fresh legs on, trying to chase this goal, this equaliser. Adam asks, is the Australia Cup final draw straight after this or not? I don't believe so. There's a bit of confusion around it. We haven't heard anything on whether there is actually a draw happening straight after this. We believe that the grand final draw to decide the location will be made by the FA. So we'll keep an eye on it further. Hingit. Back for Miliusnic. Back for O'Shea. Raw. Look at them building here, man. They're really sort of moving the ball nicely. Looking dangerous. Brisbane Roar team. A lot of people expect to push into the top 6 this year with the way that they've performed in the Australia Cup so far. And I think you'd be right to predict so. Markovsky giving away the foul there. Ollie says, if you told me at the start of the season that Brisbane Roar would get to the final of the Australia Cup, I wouldn't believe it a bit. I didn't think we would win against Newcastle. Yeah, right? I think even coming up against Newcastle first up, it was already a tricky start, wasn't it? Knights win the ball in the middle of the park. Can they do it? As long as it stays 1-0, man, it's going to be a nervy finale for Roar. 1-0 it is. Will you do a revised early predictions close to the start? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I did an early prediction a couple months ago, and that was definitely an early prediction. But yeah, my official sort of like final predictions will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. Yes, we'll be doing an A-League women's predictions as well. What was your original thought on Sydney Wanderers in the 2021-22 season? Well, 21-22. So it was 2 years ago now, wasn't it? I thought they were gonna. From memory, I thought they were gonna succeed that year because that was the year that they signed Antonis and Petratos, and they built a decent team again. But it just didn't work out for them. You know, they had backers. They had what else they had in that team a couple of years ago. Traore was there. It was a good team back then. Nice pass by Gomulka. Down the right flank for Miliusnic, who's letting it run all the way to the corner. Still plenty of time to go. Nice flick by Miliusnic. The delivery's not bad, but it will go over the head of everyone. The Brisbane Roar player down here, isn't Miliusnic? It is. A lot of running tonight for Nikola Miliusnic. Oh my god, dude! They're showing. They showed Ross Aloisi on the screen again, and he's not standing, he's sitting, but he's still filthy. I don't know what's going on, but Ross Aloisi is seriously upset. I hope he's okay, man. He doesn't look happy at all. Wow. I've never seen a winning coach so angry. Looks like Miliusnic is coming off. Majok to replace him on the right wing for the Brisbane Roar. Majok, another young player with plenty of promise. We're entering the final stages of this contest, and it's a match where it's been quite fascinating. I mean, even though Brisbane Roar looks like the better side, they only have a 1-goal lead. Did you watch the Sydney FC documentary on Paramount Plus this year? I haven't seen it. I know the one you're talking about. I've seen it on there. I haven't watched it. Is it worth it? Is it good? Let me know. Still defending in this 4-4-2 shape. Brisbane Roar looking to hold on to this 1-goal lead. That will be one of the most important 1-0 wins they've ever had. If it stays as is, here's Majok. Miss hits the ball. A little bit sloppy there from Ayon Majok. Melbourne Knights just can't seem to get the ball up the pitch, man. That's a problem for them at the moment. They're not creating enough chances to get themselves back into this game. That's a good pass, though, into the channel. Zabala has to clear. Draw confirmed on commentary. Draw to decide the hosting rights. Hosting rights is massive. There we go. Is that right? Is that what they're saying? I'm not listening to the commentary, but right now, by the way. There you go. And is it happening right after? Let me know. No worries, Nama. I'll have to check it out after the game. I'm pretty sure, says Sam. Okay. Well, hopefully, then we can stay alive for that and watch that. Hopefully, man. Hopefully we do have the draw straight after. That'd be great. Could be Sydney FC. Or at this rate, could be Brisbane Roar. Melbourne Knights. That's broken down for them. Chance for Brisbane to counter. Meanwhile, Franjic has come on here for Dazelle. Sewell on for Morton as well. So more fresh legs onto the pitch for Knights as they try to chase this equaliser. Here's Majok. Needed to pass that through. Instead, he's won a foul. Tricky player, Ayon Majok. Good agility, good speed. Has been deployed as a winger in this Brisbane Roar squad of late. Can play as a striker as well. Final 10 minutes we are already in. Markovsky does well to win that ball. Forward play here for Brisbane is good. Winning a corner. I've had so many corners this game, Brisbane. I don't know what the corner stats are looking like, but it must be a pretty high number. Got to be getting close to the double digits, surely. O'Shea to deliver once again. Good delivery too. Gomorka to follow it up. Blocked. Brisbane Roar have done it. Oh, that's a terrible challenge. That's a terrible challenge. It has to be a red card. It has to be a red card. It's going to be a yellow. And look at this from Berenguer. Oh my goodness. Florin Berenguer completely lost his head there. I'm sorry. That has to be a red card. That has to be a red card. That's a disaster. From Daniel Elder, the referee. That has to be a red card. That's an abhorrent tackle. That's a disgusting tackle. That's a disgusting tackle, man. That's one of the worst tackles I've ever seen. That's a ridiculous tackle. How is that not a red card? Franjic with the tackle for Melbourne Knights. That is disgusting. How Daniel Elder is not awarded a red card. I mean, from the camera angle, it didn't look like that there was too much contact there, but that is one of the worst tackles I've ever seen. I mean, was it? I think it was Aldred who was in possession of the ball. Had no idea that Franjic was there, and French just comes out of nowhere and just completely spears into the back of his leg. It's dangerous. This is really dangerous and really silly. Easily a red, says Ollie. Should have been a red. Wow, man. I wonder what the referee's thinking is there behind awarding the yellow. I'd love to hear the thought process there, because I don't know. I mean, that's the definition of a red card, really. Wow, man. I can't believe that. Anyway, Brisbane Roar, good chance. Free kick goes the other way. Ruben says, yeah, I'm pulling out a red instantly if I see any of that in any of the games I'm refereeing. Yeah, 100% right. 100%. Oh, gosh, dude. I keep thinking about that tackle. That's absurd. It's just like he had no intention of playing the ball and just wanted to destroy Tom Aldred's leg from the back. Oh, gosh. I mean, Florian Berenguer's reaction said it all too. He was not happy with Franjic at all. He had him in his hands. It's got to be a handball, surely. Yep. Little bit of spice in this game, man. A little bit of spice in this game now. You can see Tom Aldred with a little bit of having a chat to some of the players. Definitely handball there. Frenzied Rabbit says Roar should be 2 or 3 ahead at this point. Absolutely. Should have scored more for sure. And with a few minutes to go until injury time, Melbourne Knights are still in the game. Yeah, you'd imagine the XG would definitely be in Roar's favour. Hey, 100%. Wow, dude, I can't stop thinking about that tackle. I've never seen a tackle like that. I haven't seen a tackle like that in a long time. It's so lucky that that's not a red card. That's so fortunate for Melbourne Knights. They had a player sent off in the quarterfinal too. Right? Lester Yotis, the midfielder, was sent off in the quarterfinal. Wayward pass picked up by Markowski, who will lose it. Be picked up by Parsons. Where's the... Oh, and there's a yellow card here for Markowski. I tell you what, I missed the challenge. Markowski on Collins. So a couple late bookings here being dished out. 3 minutes to go in regular time. I don't know. I guess that's the yellow card. I mean, it was late. He was flying in for the ball. Majok is brought down. There are fouls all over the place right now. This game's starting. I mean, Daniel Elder just trying to cool this game down a little bit because with Melbourne Knights' desperation here, it's starting to become a little bit fiery. Some unnecessary fouls too. Hey. Russ Aloisi again being showed on the broadcast here. It hasn't been a happy man tonight, Russ Aloisi, despite his team leading for majority of the match. So upset on the bench. Probably disappointed his side hasn't been able to claim a few more goals. It's been a bit of a grind for much of this game. But there's not too long to go. Knights, Frenzy Raptors Knights have made this very frustrating. I think we're also missing Henry. Yeah, Henry Hoare too. Yeah, Florian Berengier's been okay. He hasn't been too influential in this match. But yeah, Henry Hoare just brings that X factor, doesn't he? A few minutes to go. Melbourne Knights have put up a really gritty performance. Just need this one goal to take this game to extra time. Another booking, this time for Florian Berenguer. Free kick going the way of Sydney United. Yeah, dude, that's really clumsy from Berenguer. I mean, just pulling back his opponent unnecessarily. You got other defenders in the area. So, free kick here. And it's in a funny position. It's very much straight on to goal. But it's a fair distance out. A lot of jostling. A lot of jostling here in preparation for this free kick. Where's Lofthouse? Yeah, I haven't seen Lofthouse for a while. He must be injured. Ball in. He's going to miss everyone. Goal kick to come. Six minutes of added time. I guess that was due to the injury to Oldfield, the Melbourne Knights keeper, who was down for a period. There was also the head clash involving Scott Neville and Benjamin Collins. So some extra time to be played here. 6 minutes remaining potentially for Melbourne Knights in their Australia Cup run for 2023. Unless they can salvage this with a winner. Equaliser, rather. O'Shea, good ball over the top for Parsons. Could Brisbane Roar seal it here with the second? Parsons content to take it to the corner. I don't know about that. He had options in the middle, man. Still plenty of time to go. Still 5 minutes left. Thrown for Knights. They're back in possession. Oh, poor clearance. Majock on the ball and shoots. Blocked. O'Shea picks it up. Disaster for Knights at the back. Goal kick. So, 4.5 minutes. Melbourne Knights played out from the back. Do you miss the Women's World Cup? Hey, we had so much fun with the Women's World Cup, hey. What a time. That'll live in the memory for a while. Some magical moments. Knights throwing more players forward now. Frenzy Robert says Melbourne Knights are so fit. Can see they've just had their season. Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing with the Australia Cup, isn't it? These NPL teams are coming to the end of their seasons. This is a big final here for Melbourne Knights. Through here for Markovski. Just wide. Great chance for Jonas Markovski. Puts his shot wide. The substitute. He's looked lively since coming off the bench. Very, very lively. Here the strike goes wide. So close indeed. So Brisbane corner here. They've only committed a couple of players forward. Couple minutes away from securing their place in the final. Corner again. Corner again. This is a series of corners here in the corner for Brisbane Roar. And again, they're just holding it in the corner there. Alex Parsons trying to use his strength. Gormorka, it's in behind here for Berenguer. Chipping it in. Didn't find a teammate. That's a poor delivery. And Melbourne Knights can counter off the back of this. Let's see what happens here. Challenge there from Parsons. Down the right, the space. Options in the box. 5 plays in the box for the Knights. Delivery's good. It's going to fall here for them. What a block. Wow, that was the moment. Jack Hingett yeeting himself at the ball there. Wow, dude. Axel, good to see you here, man. Says, hey, man, how's it going? Hopefully Melbourne get a late equaliser, send it to extra time. Look, it's been an admirable performance, man. They've been working so hard. Was that the last chance for Melbourne Knights, man? They've really taken it to Brisbane Roar. They've kept them to just the 1 goal. Which team do you think has the best youth academy? I mean, I can be biased and say Mariners. I think Adelaide's youth academy is very good. Sydney's very good. Wanderers, City. There's some great youth academies across the league, man. Oh, heavy collision there on Parsons. And that will be a foul, yes. Alex Parsons got smashed into there. That might be it. That might be it too for Melbourne Knights. Brilliant cup run. The most successful side in the Australian Cup for 2023. Came up against an A-League side here tonight. Unfortunately, couldn't get the job done. And it's Brisbane Roar under new coach Ross Aloisi. Will be hoping to lift their first piece of silverware in almost a decade. Gritty performance in the end from Brisbane Roar. Time has expired. Still we play on. Knights just have to send it forward now. Collins goes long. Not enough time. Brisbane Roar have qualified for the Australia Cup final for 2023. It's going to be Brisbane Roar v Sydney FC for the final. What a huge result. Huge performance from Brisbane. 1-0. It was a Thomas Waddingham strike in the first half that separated the two sides. Credit to Melbourne Knights, who were really gritty performance in the end from the MPL Victoria side. But Brisbane Roar, too strong in the end. Wow, dude. And that's right, Seb. 3 finals and 3 sports for the Brisbane teams. Remarkable stuff. AFL, NRL, and now the greatest game of all, football. Brisbane Roar are into the Australia Cup final. How we feeling? Brisbane Roar fans very happy with that one. Ruben says, now we pray for a home final. That's right. That's right. Wow. Funny game in the end, wasn't it? Really tight, cagey game. Melbourne, it was a real arm wrestle for much of that contest, but that 18th minute strike for Waddingham separating the teams. So, we'll see if there's going to be a live draw straight after. Let me know if you guys hear anything. Frenzied Rabbit asks if the draw's on now. Well, there's some talk that maybe a draw was going to happen after the game. I don't think we've seen anything as a flare is thrown onto the field. Okay, I've just heard, actually, I've just listened to the commentary. Michael Zapponi's just confirmed that we are going to get the date, venue, and time confirmation on Tuesday. On Tuesday, So 2 days' time, we will get the final confirmation, which is exciting to hear. Thanks to the Aussie. Aussie says there's 5,183 in the crowd. Epic. Epic. There will be a draw. The draw's now. I heard that we're going to get... just heard that Michael Zapponi said that there will be a... there will be an announcement on Tuesday. But are we perhaps going to get the actual team, the hosting rights draw now? That's what I want to know. Melbourne Knights applauding their home fans. Really fantastic cup run. Led by head coach Ben Khan. A man a lot of people want for the Mariners head job. Frenzy says might be the hosting rights now and then the details later. Yeah, let's keep an eye on it. Let's keep an eye on it. Let me know if you guys hear anything. We want to know if the draw is happening now or later. Surely they'll just do the draw now, right? And then we can find out who's going to host. They've done the draw straight after the last game every other round. I don't see why they wouldn't do it again here. Don't forget, we're going to be live in a few hours' time for Premier League Watchalong, Tottenham v Arsenal. Tottenham v Arsenal. Not long to go. Frenzied Rep says, I need a home final in Brizzy, please. It'd be massive for the Roar if they get it. Last time they had a final, they hosted a final, was way back in 2014, where they defeated Western City Wanderers in that A-League Grand Final. Here they are, qualifying for an Australia Cup final to take on Sydney FC. The two Melbourne clubs are the clubs that are knocked out tonight. Sydney FC is so impressive, defeating Melbourne City today 2-1. Very, very strong in that match. Brisbane Roar, they had to grind it out against Melbourne Knights. Good debut today as well for Jonas Markovsky, who came off the bench. This Brisbane Roar side under Ross Aloisi now set for their first cup final. First final in almost a decade. Are we getting the draw? That's what I want to know. Are we getting the draw? Aussie says JSA is getting emotional and I love it. Shows he cares about this club. Yeah, it's been there for a number of years now too. Hey, brought in a number of years ago under the leadership of Robbie Fowler. Years ago, right? Which feels like ages ago. Has become a crucial part of this club. Him and Tom Aldred have really become the rock of this club. Jack Hingett there as well, Scott Neville. They've been there for a long, long time now. So now we wait to decide to find out who will be hosting this final. Will it be in Brisbane? Will it be in Sydney? I think the consensus seems to be that we want it in Brisbane. Even like non-Raw fans like myself want it in Brisbane. I think it'd be really, really special. It'd be great. Jay O'Shea. You can see, nice little touch there. I just noticed that actually about on this Brisbane Roar kit, the star above the logo with the number 3 in it to represent those 3 championships. Do you think they will have achieved this under Nick Green? I don't think so. I think Ross Aloisi's done a really good job to like come in and implement, a new style, really intense style. This Brisbane Roar side has been playing some good football, but off the ball too. You could see the way that they're pressing today. Hey. Adam says the template coverage says the coverage ends at 9:30. Well, I guess that they might suggest that. Well, they usually do that if it goes to extra time. Hey. Thanks for pointing that out. Frenzy Rabbit says Knights had 0 shots on target. There you go. 0 shots on target. Yeah, they had a couple opportunities here and there. That crazy moment towards the end, but couldn't challenge Macklin Freak at all. And credit to Brisbane Roar, who not only were looking good in attack, but defended really, really well as well. Nick Green was too inexperienced. He wouldn't have gone far. Yeah, I think Nick Green did a decent job as interim last season, to carry Brisbane Roar through to the end. And look, they finished 8th, which, considering how much they were struggling, was a decent finish. They could have finished a lot lower than that. They easily could have picked up the wooden spoon last year, Brisbane Roar. They avoided that. And now they've gotten to the Australia Cup final, which is huge. Yes, Charlie, we did play Griddle today. Got 7 out of 9. 7 out of 9 on the Griddle today, which was a little bit tricky. A little bit tricky one today. Ollie says, before the competition started, I would have been happy to make the quarterfinals, let alone the final. I know, right? And that's the beauty of the cup competition. It's sometimes it's a bit of a lottery in terms of who goes through and all that sort of stuff. But Brisbane Roar, well done for them. Putting together some really, really good performances against A-League sides, against NPL sides too. I mean, they defeated on the road Newcastle Jets, Sydney United, Western Sydney Wanderers, now Melbourne Knights. Now going all the way through to take on Sydney FC in the final itself. Louis Zabala there with, you'd imagine, some family. Emotional for a lot of these players, especially a lot of these Brisbane players who've been struggling. A side that has struggled in the Cup and the League for a couple of years now. It doesn't look like the draw is happening, says Ollie. I think you guys are right. I'll tell you what, we'll keep an eye for it, but we're going to wrap it up there, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're going to be live in 3 hours' time for the North London Derby Watchalong. We're doing a Premier League Watchalong of Spurs v Arsenal. Very excited for that one to watch. Where is it? The Mighty Spurs. We're going to be watching the Mighty Spurs tonight. Ange Postecoglou in his first ever North London Derby. So, hey, if you're up in a few hours' time, make sure you jump in the live stream. Join us for it. Tottenham, Arsenal, North London Derby, kicking off at 11 p.m. Australian Standard Time. We're going to be live here for the Watchalong on YouTube. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I greatly appreciate it. It's been a big afternoon of Australia Cup semi-finals. Sydney FC, Brisbane Roar in the final. Let's go. Cheers, guys. See you in a few hours.